I really wanted to do something else in addition to being a homemaker. And I ran for the Assembly, the state legislature, in 1974. I had been here for about only 4 years. 1969, I ran in 1974, so that was a brief time, and that was one of the people said, what does she know about Reno? What does she know about Nevada? Well, as it turns out, I did, because Tucson was a small town when we moved there, and all of a sudden it just became, exponentially growth crazy. Building 3 high schools in 1 year just to keep up with all the growth. But I think one of the reasons I won is that I had 2 men. It was a Republican primary, and it was a Republican district, and we were all about the same age. Each of them were far better known than myself, one very well known, but I think they split the vote, and I was the different candidate. I use that as, maybe that's why I won. Most women were very hostile to this. They were very unsettled about what was happening in the country at this time, in Nevada particularly, that women were going out and doing things that they hadn't done before. And I mentioned it in terms of the Eagle Forum, the Eagle Forum group. But I mean, I found that to be the case when I looked at the analysis of voters, that I had more men vote for me than women. And I think it was because they didn't know quite what was going on. This was in 1974. I would particularly mention Jean Ford and Mary Gojak. We were there at the same time. We did agree on women's issues, social issues, despite the fact that I mentioned that we represented different districts. But that was, there were very few votes that played a big role in. In my district, I did not have anything but single-family homes. There were no apartments, there were no mobile homes, there were no condominiums, so it was strictly single-family, whereas Jean's was quite different in Las Vegas area, and Mary's was different as well. So those were the kind of issues that we might represent our particular district. The rest were much more broader in scope, dealing with banks or something of that sort. You depended upon people that you liked, that you admired, to help you to know which committees to get on, and particularly as a Republican at that time, it was very few people. I've been in the minority party until 85, 87, when finally we became the majority party and I got to chair a committee. Other than that, I was always like one of 3 people on a committee of maybe 7 or 5, and there might be 2 Republicans and the rest were Democrats. So, you learned which committee you liked. I knew the committee that everybody wanted to get on was the Finance Committee or Ways and Means. I was on that once. I did not really like it that much. I was much more interested in government affairs and the Judiciary Committee.